Have you ever tried to read an ancient text, something like the Tao Te Ching, and just felt completely lost? You know it's supposed to be profound, but it just feels fuzzy. Well, you are definitely not alone. Today we're going to explore something fascinating, how a really modern psychological toolkit can snap this ancient wisdom into sharp, radical focus.
So here's the roadmap for our little journey today. First, we'll tackle the problem head-on, why these old texts can feel so abstract. Then we'll look at a whole new way of translating that gets back to the source. After that, we'll open up what's basically a user manual for the brain called neurolinguistic programming. And then we'll see how these two worlds, ancient text and modern technique, come together. Finally, we'll see the payoff, how this makes the whole journey so much clearer.
All right, let's start with a feeling I think we've all had. You open up the Tao Te Ching, you read a few lines, and you get this wave of, well, profundity mixed with a whole lot of confusion. It feels beautiful, but what does it mean? We're going to unpack why that happens.
This one. This is the big one, right? The line that has launched 1,000 philosophical debates. It's poetic, it's mysterious, it's beautiful. But again, what does it actually mean for us? Right here, right now. It points to something beyond words, but how are we supposed to grasp it?
And that's the question, isn't it? It hits you right in the gut. How do we get from this abstract, poetic idea to something we can actually feel and use? What if the problem isn't the ancient wisdom itself, but the words we're using to describe it? This brings us to a really powerful idea from modern psychology, specifically from neurolinguistic programming, or NLP. It's the idea that the map is not the territory. See, our words, they're just the map. The actual experience, reality itself, that's the territory. And if your map is blurry or written in a language you don't quite get, you're never going to be able to navigate the territory.
So, if the old maps we have are faded and confusing, what do? Do we just give up? No way. This is where a really radical, fresh approach to translation comes into play. It's all about redrawing the map by going back to the very, very beginning.
This approach is just brilliant. It's called the bare bones translation, and it does something so simple and so powerful. It basically says, okay, let's ignore the last few centuries of philosophical interpretations and abstract words. What if we go back to the original Chinese characters, back when they were just simple pictures of things?
And this is where your mind is going to be blown. Let's take the word Tao. We're always told it means the way or the path, which sounds kind of static, right? Like a road. But the original character, the original picture, is a combination of a head and the symbol for walking. It's not a path, it's a living, breathing journey. It's the act of a head leading feet forward. It's active.
Here's another amazing one, Wu Wei. It's almost always translated as inaction or non-doing, which sounds, lazy. But the original character tells a story. The symbol for Wei is a hand leading an elephant. So Wu Wei, non-Wei, isn't about doing nothing. It's about letting go of the leash and letting the elephant walk by itself. It's immense, effortless, powerful action.
So you're seeing these vivid, image-based translations, and you're probably thinking, okay, that's really cool, but where does the modern psychology part come in? Well, that's where we bring in neurolinguistic programming.
NLP sounds super technical, I know, but you can just think of it as a user manual for the human brain. It's this whole field that studies the connection between how our brain works, the language we use, and how that creates our patterns of behavior. It's all about how to communicate more effectively with others and with ourselves.
And what does this user manual tell us? It says the most effective communication uses sensory-rich language. It creates vivid mental pictures. It tells compelling little stories. It taps into our emotions. Sound familiar? It's starting to sound a lot like what that bare-bones translation is doing, right?
Okay, this is where it all clicks into place. This bare-bones translation isn't just some quirky academic exercise. It is, whether intentionally or not, a perfect application of these core NLP principles. It's using modern communication techniques to unlock an ancient text.
Let's look at a concrete example. An NLP principle is to use sensory-rich language. So instead of the vague abstract word beautiful, this translation goes back to the character's root picture. And you know what it is? A big sheep. For an ancient pastoral culture, a big, fat sheep wasn't abstract at all. It was wealth, survival, prosperity. It was a deeply felt, concrete good.
And this approach works on so many levels. Look at this. The NLP idea of creating vivid imagery? Well, the word virtue becomes walking with your heart aligned to your own straight seeing. You can actually feel that, or matching the worldview. It avoids loaded words like heaven,
preserving the original feel of the text. And crafting narratives, the very word for can becomes a tiny story about a mouth hitting an obstacle. The meaning is baked right into the picture.
So we have this new, clearer map built on these powerful principles. But does it actually work? Does it help us navigate the territory any better? Let's do a quick before and after, and you can be the judge.
Okay, here's a standard translation of a very famous passage from chapter 8. It's nice, it's poetic, but the highest good is pretty abstract, wouldn't you say?
Now look at this. This is the bare bones version. The highest good becomes the highest sheep skill. That's a concrete skill, something you develop. The Tao becomes the flowing journey. Suddenly the entire verse is grounded. It's not about being a morally good person, it's about developing a skill that flows as effortlessly and powerfully as water. It's a total game changer.
All right, one more. Here's another classic, chapter 11. It's a bit of a brain teaser about emptiness, and the language is often kind of clunky and repetitive.
And here's the bare bones version, so much cleaner. It just cuts right to the heart of the paradox. What is provides the benefit, what is not provides the use. Bam! The idea is still profound, but now it's incredibly clear and easy to grasp. The fog just lifts.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It all comes back to that map and the territory. By using these modern psychological principles to create a better, clearer, more sensory-rich map, this translation doesn't just help us understand the Taoist concepts intellectually, it allows us to feel them, to experience the territory more directly. And this just makes you wonder, doesn't it? This isn't just about the Tao Te Ching. How much other ancient wisdom is out there just waiting for us, but it's hidden behind a faded, blurry map of abstract words? What other incredible ideas could we rediscover, not by inventing something new, but just by finding a clearer way to say what's already there?